What's going on, people? So, side of the box, we're just gonna jump on into this thing, because why drag it out? I got 3 of these things to do. Alright, so that's some information that sometimes people care to see or whatever, but past that, let's go ahead and do this. This right here is the Asics Gel-Cumulus 16 in some kind of watermelon-y type colorway. At least that's what I've read on the internet. I mean, the colors of the actual thing might be on the side of the box, but who's reading the sides of the boxes, huh? Anyway, so, you guys ready for this? Doesn't matter if you are or not, I am. Down there, across the bottom, here's what's going on down there. Very plain outsole. You gotta remember, this is a 16. They're up to like somewhere in the mid-20s now, so they've been doing some plain things on the bottom. Apparently it's been that way for a good while now, so nothing too crazy about that. We're just gonna move on past it. Talk about this here midsole for a moment, right? So looking at all that stuff, pretty cool. I do like the fact that you can actually see the gel on here. That's a thing that I like about past Asics models, and I guess still some current ones, right? The gel kinetic fluid, you could see it on there too. But most of the time, in a lot of their running ones, it's kind of just hidden away nowadays. But either way, it's pretty alright. I do like that, right? Real quick though, let's take a look at the inside, see what's going on there. Not a lot, right? So this gets back to like the plain things that you see like more so nowadays, I guess you could say. So that's going to be that. And now two quick shots overviewing what all you see here. Not a whole lot really going on as far as like mind-blowing designs and such. It's really just a lot of mesh and like a lot of, whatever colors they choose to, use here. But it's a design overall that you've probably seen several times over by different brands. It's a thing that was working before, and honestly it kind of still works now, so that's why they still do it. Anyway, so let's get on in here. I'll give you some pictures while I talk about some things. This is largely, like I just said, it's a largely mesh shoe, right? You can tell that, and the close-ups are just going to drive that home, right? Now, one thing that I will say that kind of caught me off guard, I didn't realize that the purplish, pinkish sort of color in the front, that's more of a flat plastic overlay, whereas like a lot of the rest of it is kind of like some other material, right? It's still plasticky, just like thicker, and has like a bit of a texture to it. So that's something that I noticed. Otherwise, this is going to be done very much like a lot of other several years ago running shoes, or even some of the more modern things that are made to mimic that era, right? And then we'll come back to that in a minute, and I guess. But anyway, so moving on towards the back end and all that good stuff. Same thing there, just less colorful, right? Because it's all just green back there, right? I do like the green that they use to like do these little details around like the logo and stuff. Kind of has like some sort of look to it that, I don't know, it's like almost makes you think of some sort of like animal type of thing or something, but it just happens to look pretty nice to me. So that's something I noticed, so I figured I'd bring it up. Anyways, jumping back over to the front and stuff there, right, where the laces are. Pretty much your typical stuff, flat, round type laces that they use on a lot of shoes like this. They work just fine. They're green all the way through the tips, right? Very plain, very simple, but hey, sometimes that's good enough. And behind that, on the tongue, right? The tongue is basically everything that you saw before, but without all the colors and stuff, because it's just going to be the plain white mesh, right? Very nice, very comfortable, no complaints there. And then at the top, though, it does switch up just a wee bit, because it switches to this like mint green sort of color with like the little plastic Asics thing on there. And that is like I said a second ago, it is kind of a plush tongue, right? Not super thick or anything like certain other things, but enough to give you some extra comfort in there when you're wearing them. I'll give it that, right? So I do like the feel of these. And when we're talking about things on the inside, the sock liner, it's going to be like the typical green that you saw on the rest of the back end of the shoe. Pretty comfortable, right? No complaints about that. As you look down a little deeper in there, this one says Asics Gel-Cumulus 16, as does the other one. So there's what's going on the inside, otherwise just blacked out, right? And past that, not a whole lot going on in there, because again, it's just like a thin mesh sort of thing. They keep it that way so it's breathable and all that. Keep it lightweight. I do appreciate that, right? So I think that really covers pretty much everything about the visual and whatnot. I'm going to tell you how I feel about these things as far as my own personal opinion. Then we'll knock out some sizing, comfort, and be on to the Metafuji Trails and the Sonic Blast. Personally speaking, I like these. I saw the picture online, and I was never like a big Cumulus guy. I wore a pair like, I think it's like the 23s. It's not great, but it looks cool, I guess. But I saw these, and I originally ignored it, but I was like, you know what? Like, they kept coming to mind, so I just ended up buying them. And I'm glad I did, because once I got them in hand, I was like, man, these things look really cool, and I'm glad to have these, right? It's not a look that's like anything new or anything. Like, you got the gel NYCs and stuff, very similar, right? And lots of other things from even New Balance and whatever. But this particular color, the way it was done, it pulled my attention in, and apparently had a stranglehold on it. And so I ended up with them, and I'm cool with the, I want to say 130 maybe. I honestly don't remember what these cost, but I feel like that's fair. So yeah, visually speaking, things went well, and sometimes that's all you're really looking for, especially when you know something isn't going to be like the pinnacle of comfort. It's just like a normal casual wear shoe, and that's where these come in. Though technically speaking, I guess it was a running shoe, and still I guess is, but is it really? I mean, it's 2025. All right, past that, let's dig a little deeper into that whole thing as far as how these things feel and walking around in them and all that stuff, because that's the thing a lot of people seem to care about. As far as like when I look at the retention, it's like low, 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 spike, low, 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 low. All right, so sizing, comfort. Here we go. Let's do this. I bought these in a size 9.5, right? I have a size 9.5 foot. Pretty much every Asics thing that I have bought has worked out at that size. This is no different, right? So whatever your normal size is for like your normal casual wear type shoes that look like this, do that and you'll likely be fine. It worked out fine for me. That's all I can say, right? Again, I get everybody's different, got your different preferences, different foot styles or whatever, but true to size is a good place to start. Because you got like enough rooms front to back, side to side to not feel confined and all that stuff, so that's pretty nice. The feeling of the upper and all that good stuff, like I said, it's all mesh, right? So that does make for it to be very light as far as weight and very light as far as breathability, which is a thing that you would like to have, at least a thing that I would like to have in my shoes. So that's why I feel pretty good about walking around in these, right? No complaints there, really. I can say this though, when it comes to like the midsole, right? And again, this is the 16, it's based off of some older stuff, right? It's not as comfortable as a lot of like the modern day things that look like this. So again, I'll bring up like the Gel NYC, you know, or maybe even the, what's that, the 2002 R from New Balance. A lot of the things that look like this that were made more recently are more comfortable. These, I mean, I didn't think like the other Cumulus like that I had that was modern was very comfortable, but for a walking shoe, they're fine, right? I've got no complaints about it. I can be on my feet all day in these, and I don't think my feet will be angry about it. It's just that if you are out there looking for a walking shoe and you want the most comfortable one, this one is not going to be it, right? It's good, right? I can't complain about it, but if you want like the best of the best, I mean, I can't say offhand what that would be, because honestly, I don't wear a lot of my stuff often enough to really have it fresh in my mind or whatever. But look at anything like this and I guess just pick something that was made more recently, right? Maybe has some better foams in it, things like that. But either way, I do like the way they worked out, so things are good. Hopefully if you want a pair of these, you can find a pair that, you know, is in a color you like or whatever. I have seen a lot of these 16s floating around, so there is that. There's also a purple pair that came out around with these that I kind of wanted, but I was like, well, I think I'm just going to do the one pair thing this time, which I'm kind of glad I did, because this one's really good, and I think I'll just stop there, you know? Quit while you're on top. Speaking of, from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are, on to the Meta Fuji Trail, and then the Sonic Blast. Bit of an Asics day. You know, usually I would wear an Asics shirt, but I was doing an All Elite crate unboxing before this, so that's the reason for this. Later, people.